let me welcome you to the conversation segment of the Signature Show this Sunday. Incidentally, we are reaching you from what today is known as the Land of Beauty. I think when my friend and colleague Boni Haruna was the governor of this state, I think he used to be the Sunshine State. By the way, this morning I woke up around 5:30 and discovered that my window in the hotel I was staying was already awash with sunshine. We're not discussing sunshine this afternoon. Now, in Yola today, I just said to myself, what is happening about governance? I don't mean the governor. I don't mean the legislature. I mean the process of providing services to the people, which is the responsibility of government everywhere. So we are going to use Adamawa State in this edition of the program to x-ray how well governance is working for the Nigerian person. And as I was moving around Yola, I ran into and grabbed a young man who incidentally is a lawyer, and his name is Sunday Joshua Wugira. Sunday Joshua Wugira is the senior special assistant to the governor on public affairs. Sunday, you're welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Do you feel governance in Adamawa State? I mean governance.
I do.
If I pin you down now and say, can you give me a little insight into how you feel governance in the state? What will you tell me?
Well, first and foremost, the feeling of government and governance that I have in Adamawa State today is I go to bed and sleep with my two eyes closed. It wasn't the case before now. And I believe we have a government, and I am feeling governance. This is fundamental.
You've touched a very raw nerve in the sense that security around the country has been a major headache of most governments. And it has been the reason why a number of critics have kept saying that they're not feeling governance. If my property and my life are not safe, how can I feel governance? Is there any paradigm, is there any step, governance step, your government has taken to be able to secure the lives of the people?
Yes, when the governor of our state, Right Honorable Amadou Morofintiri, was campaigning, he had an agenda, 11-point agenda, that given the mandate, this is what I am coming to consolidate. Out of this 11, the first is security. Before now, in Adamawa State, we had a lot of challenges, communal clashes here and there, raids by bandits on communities, kidnappings, street mugging, and what have you. But upon his ascension as a governor, he took concrete and decisive steps to ensure that lives and properties in Adamawa State, to the best of his ability as a governor and as a government that is serious about protecting lives and properties of the citizenry, he has taken that step. One, ensuring the fact that those in charge of the security of the people, the army, the police, the DSS, all other paramilitary agencies are energized, mobilized, equipped, assisted, and directed as well to ensure that everyone and everywhere is safe and made safe. That has been achieved. Vehicles were provided to beef up the security agencies' activities, to ensure prompt and rapid response to security challenges and situations, rescue operations, and also making sure that whoever is involved in creating insecurities are smocked and punished accordingly. We have had attempts at raids on communities. We have had communal crisis upon the ascension of power of the present governor and the coming of this government, but they were addressed squarely. And today, everyone in Adamawa State can say to a reasonable extent that a government can do and a people can feel that yes, we are better off than we were yesterday.
Let me congratulate you and your governor on that score. But governance also includes the strengthening of institutions.
Yes.
It includes operating within the law and the provisions of the Constitution. One of the issues in Nigeria's governance today is the apparent refusal of governors across the states to give autonomy to the legislature, to the judiciary, and the holding on to the apron strings of local governments. Let's start with the first two. Independence of the judiciary and legislature. How far has your governor gone with it?
Well, when the governor came in, the issue of the independence of the judiciary and the legislature has been an intractable issue. And I am of the opinion that it is not just about governors. It is also about those in the judiciary and those in the legislature. Generally, the society bears the burden of these challenges in the long run. One, we had several assemblies from the inception of this democratic dispensation in 1999. One fundamental error we have had over time is the fact that those that were being voted into the legislative houses, this is my personal opinion, they came not knowing the powers that was vested in them as a legislature. So they were oblivious of the fact that their independence is not something that they should beg for. It is something that is enshrined in the Constitution. And as men that are vested with the powers to make laws, ordinarily, no one should even beg them or should even come and navigate them that this is what is to be done. So I am to say that over time, we had voted the wrong people into the legislative houses who were busy chasing inconsequential things, leaving more important and prominent things that would consolidate, solidify, and concretize our democracy. The worst is the judiciary. These are men that has a duty, that a duty is vested on them to interpret our laws. Isn't it amazing that someone that is supposed to interpret the laws that may not be clear and known to the layman is the one that has sat, kept quiet, kept begging, going cap in hand every year for what ordinarily should not be. So it is not about the governors. It is about this segment, all important segment. So the challenge actually for me, to my mind, this is my opinion, shouldn't be about governors denying the judiciary or the legislature their autonomy. I don't beg what is mine. I don't beg for what is mine. I go and get it. So it shouldn't have taken them 20 years and counting to start yearning for what has been there ab initio.
In the Constitution.
Yes.
Sunday, let me ask you in a simple manner. Do you expect legislative and judicial activism in order to force the executive to get their hands off the independence of those two arms of government?
It shouldn't have been, actually. I don't expect that, in all honesty. But all fingers are not equal. And when it suits my interest to sit on your right, and you that is supposed to be conscious of your right
and keep quiet,
decide to keep quiet, so be
I
it.
ride roughshod over you.
So be it.
No, but I'm going to hold your governor in this instance to account. He was a legislator, yes. Not just a legislator. He was a speaker of the State House of Assembly. So he knows where the shoe pinches. Ordinarily, should you allow what was his constituency to be denied its independence?
Well, in this regard, I wouldn't want to hold brief for him as a person when he was the speaker. But let me also relate what transpired. He became a speaker under an extraordinary circumstance. And upon his becoming a speaker, the governor of the state then ensured that the House of Assembly in Adamawa State was shut down for more than 80 days. Dogs and security men were manning the doors of the State Assembly as at that time. So it took the intervention of a lot of people before the House could come back to sitting. And after the House stabilized, the impeachment issues cropped up. Yes, the governor then was impeached. He became an acting governor. A court judgment invalidated the impeachment of the deputy governor, and he reverted back as a speaker. And then there was a split when Balangilari, the deputy governor, took over. There was a split in the assembly. One was sitting in the legislative house here, and the other faction was sitting
on the tree
in the presidential lounge in the government house. So all these uncertainties definitely created more problems for the House that they could not, if really there was that mind to do the needful. You understand? And I am telling you, all that transpired from the moment the former speaker was impeached, where the present governor became speaker, when the House was shut down, it was clear case of the governor muzzling the House to ensure that there is no dissenting voice, that all they wanted was a yes man at the helm of affairs and your men on the floor. So this could have explained why things were done the way they were done. But like I said, I am not holding brief for him when he was speaker.
Well, you're watching the Signature Show on AIT. We take a break now and return shortly. It's an interesting story. What he said does not mean that the present governor was not a speaker under extraordinary circumstances. We'll come back. Stay with us. Well, yeah, welcome back. We're still talking with Sunday Joshua Wugira, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Adamawa State on Public Affairs. The governor was a speaker under extraordinary circumstances, but he was a speaker. So he knows where the shoe pinches, no matter the circumstance. Now, Sunday, I thought with his own experience and the effort the former governor made to muscle the legislature, that he should be the first person to even hand independence to a reluctant legislature because he knows its importance. Has he done that?
The fundamental thing is, what is the relationship between the governor and the legislature? Everyone can testify to the fact that upon ascension of this government, there has been a robust relationship between the legislature and the executive. And this is because he was there. These are not slaves. These are not men of anything goes. These are men that must be respected, not should, must be respected. They must be accorded their own rights. They are the representatives of the people. They represent 25 constituencies of Adamawa State. And he has cherished that, respected that, and kept it alive. That was why, in the first place, there has never been any issue between them.
No, I'll interject here. There should be issue between them because in a democracy, we expect mutual antagonism, mutual but beneficial antagonism. And that antagonism is the legislature should consistently oversight the executive to ensure that public resources as appropriated are utilized in the public interest. If not, the governor might as well be the king.
Very well. Why there has not been any issue is because the governor is meticulous. He is conscious of all the challenges. He was there as a legislator. He knew the pain he underwent from the opposition to being the party in power, being supported by his people, that is the assembly members, being impeaching a speaker who was not to the satisfaction of the members, of the majority of the members, doing what ought to be done. And upon being shouldered with the responsibility of leadership as a speaker, he knew what he passed through, subsequently splitting the house for one reason or the other under another governor. So he knew the landmines and he avoided them. Let me give you an example. There was a time I made an application by way of a memo to the governor. He disapproved that application. He called me. I went to him. And he said, Wugira, you ought not to have made that application. It was wrong of you. Because whoever that will see that application, if it is approved, there would be issues and you would be the one to answer. So don't go there. The appropriate agencies should do the needful so that no one will look at it as if we are trying to hide something. And you should know that you are a young man. You are coming up. Nobody knows what you will be tomorrow. Learn
to do it right.
To do it right. I was happy. You know, I was trying to be overzealous to help other agencies that I felt were not doing what they ought to do. But he said, go to them. If they really care, let them apply. If they don't, it is their own cup of tea. So this is someone that is conscious of his responsibilities
and how those things should be done.
How things ought to be done and should be done.
Can we take this to the judiciary? Because it's not just the legislature in the states that are not independent. You regretted in this conversation that institutions that should know seem to be acting to beg for what they should not beg. The judiciary, how well has the governor handled their independence?
Well, like I said from the beginning, I am not asking how well has the governor handled their independence, but how well have they jealously guarded their independence. I am a lawyer. Probably one day I may find myself on the bench. There are things that I will not take. There are things that I will lobby. There are things that I will insist, knowing that this is what rightly belongs to me. So give me what is mine. I wouldn't want to join issues with you. Nothing stops the judiciary from the beginning going to court to get a judgment, consolidating their independence from the court. Nothing stops them.
Even though it is provided for in the Constitution?
Yes, assuming but not conceding. It was denied them. These are the issues. But you see, like I said in one interview, after the strike, I said, what we don't know, or most people don't know, is that the judiciary particularly may end up going on a strike after this strike, not against or not to champion their independence, but against their heads, who, despite having all the money, they won't do anything with the money. They will keep quiet. The money will just be there, and their suffering will continue. I said this in one interview, and I am still maintaining this. I'm still maintaining this.
That the fault is not with the executive at this your governor's instance,
yes,
but it is with those who need independence, who are laying back.
Who are laying back. And even if with the independence, may not do what is right. Yes.
Well, we leave the independence of the legislature and the judiciary. There is another thorny issue. In my conversation while I've been here, somebody says to me, oh, the governor has been doing well. And I asked him, how do you mean that the governor has been doing well? And he's a colleague reporter of mine here in Adamawa State. He says to me, oh, you know that Adamawa State is a civil service state. The governor has been paying salaries. And I said to him, what exactly do you mean? Is paying salaries an achievement? What was he elected to do in the first instance? Can't I sign vouchers, even unelected, as I'm sitting here, if I have the power to pay salaries? And the young man says to me, no, he has also paid the salaries of local government staff. Is that true?
Well, let me take the matters one after the other.
Yes.
When His Excellency took over power on the 29th day of May 2019, the state government was owing workers 2 months salary arrears, that of April, that of May. The governor, when he was campaigning, there was an issue of minimum wage. And he said he was going to pay 32,000 as the minimum wage to workers of the state, Adamawa State. So he took over on the 29th, when salaries ought to have been paid. He ensured that in June, salaries were paid, including the arrears of the 2 months. And the minimum wage of 32,000 was implemented.
Is he maintaining it now?
Yes, for the state government workers. The issue of paying salaries for local government. We had a government that could not pay local government salaries for more than 6-7 months.
That was the government before his own?
Yes. So, upon his coming into government, he met a difficult situation, particularly for the local government. He was of the opinion that it is an aberration for a local government to be run by any other bodies, agencies, or whatever, contrary to what the Constitution has provided, that local governments shall be democratically administered, pursuant to Section 7 of the Constitution. We have a situation that we cannot organize election now. So we will go with the difficult aberration. He put in place a transition committee for the local government to put the local government in order for 3 months, 90 days notice be issued by the Independent Electoral Commission of the state to organize election that will usher in a democratically elected government for the local government. This was done from June, and in December, specifically December 7th, a democratically elected government was sworn in for the local government. And they are still in existence. These governments put in place democratically at the local level. They ensured that all the salary arrears of staff of the local government being owed some 7, some 8, some 10 months, they were paid. As I am talking to you today, there is no employee of the local government in Adamawa State that the local government is owing him a dime in the name of salary.
I just want to abridge, I want to interject here. Let me summarize what you've told me. That in Adamawa State today, the local government structure is being run by democratically elected councils.
Yes,
correct?
Correct.
At the end of each month, these democratically elected councils collect their federation account allocation and utilize them in offsetting their bills and discharging their constitutional responsibilities. Would I be right?
Yes. There is no local government today that local government administrations do not have projects of their own, which has ceased since around 2003, 2007 in this state until now. They receive their allocation directly. They come to the Joint Account Allocation Committee to distribute monies to agencies that the state and the local governments jointly fund. Primary health care, there is allocation to the Adamawa State University and some other agencies, like the primary school.
Primary education.
Primary education. So they distribute as is usual, lawfully provided under the extant laws, and every chairman goes back home to give account of whatever he has and continue with the projects. And they have a budget approved, passed by their various legislative councils at the local level. That is the beauty of it.
Sonny, let me just, I'm not going to use my next question as an index to come to any judgment. Is there any local government in Adamawa State that is not run by the PDP?
There is no local government in Adamawa State that is not run by the PDP.
Thank you. I want to go to the next stage.
Very well.
We're in Adamawa State to look at something quite different. And one of the issues we want to raise is what you spoke about coincidentally at the beginning of this conversation. And that is that the people of Adamawa State cannot sleep with their two eyes closed. It was not like that before. Insurgency in Adamawa State. The consequences of insurgency. The insurgents themselves and victims of the insurgency. Is there anything, any way this government is thinking to be able to reduce the hurt, the sense of hurt on the part of the victims, and a desire to repent and come into commonsensical living and integrating themselves and be repentant, really repentant, if possible, restitute for their ill behavior on both sides? Is the government thinking along that line?
The government of Adamawa State today, if it cannot be praised for the efforts they have done, particularly for the insurgency-ravaged areas of Madagali, where the governor is from, Michika, Mubi North, where I come from, Mubi South, Maiha, Hong, Gombi, these 7 local governments, notably, they were all ravaged by the insurgents. We have our cries, we have our experiences, we have the pains that probably we will carry for the rest of our lives. But we must also be honest to ourselves that there are some pains that you must learn to let go so that you will move on. So this government, when it came in, it made conscious effort to ensure that these local governments that were particularly challenged with insurgency, and after insurgency, they were challenged by banditry and kidnappings. First, the government ensured that security must be the preoccupation of everyone. There is no way normalcy would be restored, economic activities would be restored, educational activities would be restored, movements could be enhanced, and harmony could be achieved if everyone does not put his hands on deck. So there is a community integration where those in charge of the security of the people are getting involved with the local people that will help in guiding them, navigating them, the vigilantes, hunters coming together. And what will the government do? The government will come in to facilitate, to provide an enabling environment where these templates for peace, for progress, for development, for harmony would flourish. So a system is put on ground to ensure that this is achieved. The security agents were mobilized, given extra assistance. The local community was mobilized to ensure that you assist the security agencies so that you would also be safe. So there was an arrangement where there would be people that would be sharing information to the security agents. And these people, there would be confidentiality so that your safety is guaranteed, your identity is concealed, and your information is treated with the requisite attention.
Confidentiality and attention.
And attention that is needed. And this has gone a long way in ensuring that harmony and peace is restored.
So Joshua, there's something personal I want to ask you. I understand that you lost your father to the insurgents. Yeah. That the insurgents killed your father.
Certainly. I am a victim of the insurgency.
Today,
yeah,
there are people hurting because their children, their husbands, their mothers, their brothers were killed by the insurgents. And the reconciliation process being orchestrated by different groups, national and international, are asking those who hurt to forgive. How does it feel knowing that your father got killed for not anything that he did, and you have been told to forgive? How does it feel?
Well, it is really, I can't describe it, but I cynically laugh anytime anyone is talking about, what do they say? That some repentant Boko Haram, they have given up their arms, that they have been de-radicalized or whatever, and they have been integrated into the community. How do you integrate an animal back into the human fold? And you expect that that animal would become a human being. What made him an animal in the first place? And why would he just kill his fellow human beings if truly he is one? For whatever reason. So, the federal government, the army, they are tinkering with what would eventually have a backlash. I just pray that this is just a prank. But of course we have seen it, where these people will come back and at the end of the day, they will manipulate their ways back into the insurgents and serve as a threat to the Nigerian army. Somebody should, for crying out loud, stop sitting down in the comfort of his office, provided for by the sweat, blood of our forebears as a people and as a nation, to think that what he thinks, because he doesn't feel any pain, is what is right. A lot of people are silent. But if anyone can listen to the whisper of silence, you know that there are uproars. And no one with his sensible mind go to sleep. If anyone would kill his fellow human being and just wake up one day and say, I have repented, and they will say, oh, welcome back, irrespective of what our laws provided. And they will say, okay, we will give you clothes, we will send you to school, we will do this, we will do that. In the first place, what injustice has been meted out to you by my father, by any other person that was killed, that you killed him, you maimed them, you raped, you took away their properties, you burned them, you made them to be refugees, you become an internally displaced person in your own country, not because you committed an offense, but because you are who you are, which the law has guaranteed that the government, the state, will protect your being you. You know that we are in trouble. I have been saying this. The least we could do to ourselves is to have an inquest. Why did this thing happen? How did it happen? Who are behind this? And we are a nation where we have masquerades. The people that you are seeing are not the real people. They are just masks. There are people behind the masquerade. Who are these people? How much has government expended on this madness? How many people died? How many people were maimed? How many children were forcefully taken and made soldiers of an unfortunate and unfathomable war? Why? These are things that we're supposed to do. And then who and who failed to do what they ought to do. And what do we do to set an example? So that tomorrow you will not just fall back your arms simply because it has not come to you, it has not affected you, so you don't care. And it is not about you being careful or caring about what happened. You are vested with a responsibility to do what you are supposed to do. But if you cannot do this, you can ease yourself so that someone that can do it will come and do it. But you remain put on that position, and yet you refuse to do anything. Today, people don't want to say the truth. But I'm telling you, with all sense of responsibility, that the insurgency is an industry that a lot of people milk a lot of money out of it, and they will not want this to end.
Okay. There are about 400 people, by the assistance of the United Arab Emirates, that were rounded up by Nigeria's security community as funders of Nigeria's insurgency. Over 3 months, their prosecution has not even begun. And there are whispers that there could be clannish interest to try not to prosecute those 400 people. Are you worried that this could energize other funders who may feel that I can do it and get free? Are you worried?
Yes, I am
that
worried.
Those whom you say are making business out of it could in fact say, it's a lucrative business, let's go on with it?
Yes, I am worried. Not because of any factors. You see, the concept of punishment is for the deterrence it serves. When I am to come into this studio and take this mic and go away with it, and maybe the security man at the gate will stop me, search and get the microphone. And then I will say, oh, sorry, it was a mistake. I took it mistakenly. Oh, yes, I intended to steal it, but now that I have been found, I am sorry, I am returning it. I want to do it again. If by any chance I am to go without any punishment, someone that is stepping beside will be emboldened, knowing that even if he is caught, forgiveness will follow. But if I am caught with this and I am being punished, the fact that I am punished for this, for taking this, will deter the next person. And I will live with the scar of that punishment for the rest of my life. That wherever I go, people would be circumspect about me. And then myself, if truly I desire repentance, I will repent genuinely.
And you regret such actions.
I will regret such actions. And I will also be an ambassador against such actions. These are the issues. But for anyone to think that these things can be brushed or waved aside with the whiff of hand, I am afraid we are getting it wrong. I am a young man. I love this country. This nation has done a lot for me. I wouldn't have been where I am today were it not for the investment of this country on me. Free education up to university level. Free education up to university level. Today, there is no such thing. until recently when the governor of Adamawa State stepped in and he's giving our children free education. And anytime I see a school child going to school in school uniform, public schools, I used to tell myself that was me. And it was because it was free. If we were to be paying money, probably I wouldn't have been who I am today and where I am. Because my parents couldn't have afforded it. They couldn't. I know myself. So, I want this country to be better. I want this country to be beyond where it is today. So it is our responsibilities as a people, as a nation, to tell ourselves the truth, to join hands together and do the needful.
Thank you very much. And also, Sunday has closed this conversation on the note of what the good book itself says. It says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Sunday says, we should tell ourselves the truth. If we tell ourselves the truth, sooner than later, we shall be free. Yes, Sunday, Joshua Wugira, a lawyer, senior special assistant to the governor of Adamawa State on public affairs, has been my guest in the past 35 minutes. An interesting conversation. Richie, don't forget, from Yola in Adamawa State. Let me thank Sunday on your behalf. Sunday, thank you for coming to the show.
It's my pleasure.
My name remains Mwabueze Njoku. The conversation never ends. Don't forget, next week, this rendezvous is a place we converse. Good afternoon.